Hey everyone, it's Bradley Bush with another algebra video. Today we're talking about understanding the discriminant. Kind of a weird term, right? Discriminant. Well, here's our to-do list. First, we'll do a review of the quadratic formula because that's where we get the discriminant. And then we'll give the definition of the discriminant. We'll talk about how to use it, and then we'll give you a worked example. I'll also put the timestamps for each of these parts in the video description, so in case you want to skip ahead, you can. Let's start. So the quadratic formula, it's probably something you're familiar with. Here's a quadratic equation or a parabola or a second-degree polynomial. The quadratic formula is a quick way to find these dudes, the x-intercepts. So the formula is right here in yellow. X equals, that would be the x-intercepts, x equals whatever the number is, and we find it by taking the a, the b, and the c from the quadratic formula and plugging it in down below. So negative b plus or minus the square root of quantity b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That's the quadratic formula. So all we do is take the a, b's, and c's and plug them in where you see a b, an a, or a c. Now, the discriminant, this thing right here underneath the radical, that is called the discriminant, b squared minus 4ac. How do we use the discriminant? Well, this is how we use it. Remember, here's the discriminant we're talking about. B squared minus 4ac. This is how we use it. If, when we compute b squared minus 4ac, when we plug in the b, the a, the c, do the algebra, get an answer, if that number is positive, then we have two real solutions, just like you see here, 1, 2, or here, 1, 2. If b squared minus 4ac equals 0, then we just have one repeated solution, meaning our parabola comes and touches and turns around, but doesn't cross. So there's only one root. There are two roots, but it's repeated. So we just say there's only one. And if that b squared minus 4ac, or the determinant, is negative or less than 0, then we have two imaginary solutions. What we see when we graph a parabola whose discriminant is negative, we don't see it touching anywhere. The parabola will come down and go back up but never touch, or come up and go back down but never touch. So we have two imaginary solutions. So the discriminant really tells us a couple things. One, it tells us how many solutions, 2, 1, or 0, if you're talking real solutions, or if you have two imaginary solutions. So it tells you how many, and it tells you what kind they are. Are they real, or are they imaginary? So it's kind of cool. The discriminant tells us quite a bit. Here's an example. Use the discriminant to find out how many solutions and what type exist for the following quadratic equation. Here's our quadratic equation here. So let's compute the discriminant. We should probably label what the parts are, right? What is A? A is 3. And what is B? Negative 8. And C. C is 7. So we just took them from the coefficients. All right, now we can compute the discriminant. So b squared minus 4ac, that gives us negative 8, quantity squared, minus 4 times a, which is 3, times c, which is 7. Now, what is all of that? 8 squared, negative 8 squared, excuse me, gives us, that's not a very good equal sign, is it? Gives us 64 And the negative 4 times 3 is 12, times 7 is negative 84. Now, 64 minus 84 gives us negative 20. So negative 20, is it positive, negative, or 0? Well, we can see that it's negative. So because it's negative, what do we know? What does that tell us? Because the discriminant is negative, we should have two imaginary solutions, which means the parabola should not touch the x-axis. And in our graph, we can see that it doesn't. So that's all you need to know about the discriminant. It tells you what kind of solutions you have and how many. Hope this was helpful. If it was, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching.